Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this and taking the time out to watch this important video. So as most of you know, I've been in the holistic and fitness industry for about 27 plus years now. So as you can imagine, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. One of the big things that always comes up in my line of work is yo-yo dieting, right? So many people are able to lose weight, but just as quickly as they lose it, guess what? They gain it back, right? It's a common thing that I've seen time and time again. Now, what I think the culprit is, I don't want to say think, what I know it to be, is this. Most people, when they start going into the mindset of weight loss, they just fixate themselves on counting calories. Now, counting calories can help you to lose weight. But the bigger question, will it help you keep it off for the rest of your life? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. And the reason why is not that it stops working, it's that most people, let me ask you this. Would you want to spend the rest of your life counting calories? That would get pretty tiring. I mean, can you imagine like trying to go here, go there, out to dinner functions, and like you got to count your calories? It really becomes a tedious process. And that's why most people end up just throwing in the towel. Or another thing that I see, they don't throw the towel in per se on their new diet, right? But they are eating, clean, but they stop counting the calories. And now if their body's adjusted to, say, consuming like 1,500 calories, and now they're consuming 2,000, and they're only burning, say, 700 throughout the day, well, now you can see where the weight is starting to come back on, right? So, one very, very, very effective hack for all this, well, there's a few things. But one very, very important one is literally skipping one meal a day, right? Some people call it intermittent fasting. Some people eat only one meal a day. You can call it whatever you want, right? But if we can just cut out one meal a day, 9 times out of 10, we're going to put ourselves into a calorie deficit already, especially if we're living an active lifestyle and exercising, walking, doing different biohacking principles. That's going to help our body to utilize some of those calories that we need to burn off in the first place, right? So just skipping a meal, or like we like to call it nowadays, intermittent fasting, right? I coach a lot of my clients on skipping breakfast. And why? Well, if you think about it, if you ate dinner the night before and then lounged around your house and went to bed, by the time you wake up, those calories that you already ate at night haven't even been completely burned off in the morning. So why are we adding more calories on when we have enough fuel in the body to burn? Now, if our body's adjusted to waking up and eating first thing in the morning, well, then it becomes more of a mental discipline, right? Because we're used to waking up and eating something. But also, it's training our body. That's the most important thing. You will go through a phase of this where you may get hangry, because your body's like, it's 7 a.m. You're supposed to be feeding me right now. And all you're doing is drinking water at that point. So it's an adjustment period. And like with anything that's going to stick with us for life and be effective in work, it's going to take time to implement that, right? It will take time. So a good little hack for this is, instead of eating, say, your breakfast, right? If you're like, I just can't do that, I can't do that. Well, what you can do then is have half the portion of something that you would typically eat for breakfast in the morning. Now, again, you're not hearing from somebody who believes in counting macros, and, not all calories are created the same, right? So if you're a person that loves a bagel with cream cheese in the morning with coffee, or a person that loves waffles and pancakes, All that stuff is going to have to go regardless because none of that is beneficial. There's no nutritional value to any of that stuff. None of it. Plus, you're starting the morning with spiking your insulin levels, which is never a good thing. But if you're a person who's like, well, I like to have a granola cereal in the morning. I love to make a smoothie. I love to have eggs in the morning. Things like that. Sensible things that our body actually needs to get going, right? If we're going to eat in the morning. Well, let's say you're a person that loves to have like 5 eggs in the morning. I'm going to challenge you to cut it down to 2, right? So cut the calories that way. We're only going by visuals here. We're not counting anything because, again, who the hell wants to do that the rest of their lives? But if you are eating a lot of the junk foods, like I mentioned, the waffles, the pancakes, the things like that, the bagels, then I would encourage you to transfer over to these foods that I mentioned. Okay, and get your body acclimated there first. But if you're already a person who does the healthy foods in the morning, then I encourage you just to cut that in half. If you can hack just not eating anything in the morning and just drinking water. If you're a big coffee drinker, which I do not advocate, but I know there's different data on it. I just don't believe in consuming caffeine. But there's data to show that it does have benefits for a long list of things. So if you're one of those people, just stick with your coffee in the morning. If you want to add calories to it, add a little bit of coconut oil. You can add a little bit of grass-fed, grass-finished butter. It's the bulletproof coffee, right? If you just want to add sweetener to it, you can do a little bit of coconut sugar or honey or maple syrup. That's fine too. No white sugars, right? Garbage. So by doing that, we're still taking some calories in, but obviously much lower. And then the end goal for that is to not need any calories in the morning, to have consumed enough the day before, specifically the night before you stopped eating, and then having those calories to burn. See, what happens when we do this, glycogen is an energy source that comes from carbohydrates that is stored into our muscle tissue. That's what our body uses for sources of energy. When we wake up in the morning and we don't consume anything and it's just there from the night before, eventually that glycogen starts lessening and lessening and lessening and lessening. Now your body goes into like, well, I have no glycogen. Where am I getting my energy from? Now you start turning stored fat into energy. Now your body starts recognizing I have stored fat, I have excess extra here, extra there. Let me use that for energy since I have no more glycogen storage in the muscles. So that's what we eventually want to bring our body to. Once we do this, you're free. You don't have to count calories anymore. You don't need that ball and chain. You don't have to feel like you're on a diet because you're now in a calorie deficit. Now this goes much deeper into the quality of food, ingredients, and things like that, which I'll touch on in another one of these videos. But I wanted to do this to free you of having to be ball and chain to counting calories, counting macros, because when you're doing that, you're going to end up coming back to me later on for help because you will yo-yo. No one can do that for the rest of their lives. Counting macros and counting calories and things like that have come really from like athletes. It's different when you're trying to peak for a certain event or function as an athlete. But when we're talking lifestyle here, which is what I specialize in as a high performance lifestyle coach, you cannot count the macros and the calories because you will not stick with that for the rest of your life. Try this on. Let me know how it feels and works for you. And, if you want to dive deeper into it, you can always book a call with me. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you.